On today's episode,
I didn't think we were going to get through the first couple of years because it was literally hand to mouth. No, we were relentless in perfecting one thing because there was no way I was going to get caught again. A brand building for businesses is going to be one of the most important things over the next few years. You need to be online, you need to be an online presence. That is a way it's going to go. It's so hard to find new clients, but it's easy to keep hold of them. Businesses can't grow if you're in it all the time and you're the point of conversations, of decisions all the time. So that was a big thing.
So Jason, welcome to the Chester Centurion podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. So before we get started today, I'd love to know a little bit more about the business, about MyProfit Engine. Tell me what it is you do.
It's Profit Engine is a company. The website is MyProfitEngine.com, and we work within digital marketing, specifically SEO. So within that, we work within a certain area called link building, which is really important. The more links you get back to your website, the higher it ranks. And it's something that everyone hates to do within the industry. It's a really laborious, slow, but very important part of SEO. Probably the most important part once your site's up and running. And we've been doing that for 8 years now. Yeah.
Interesting. SEO, for those who aren't aware what SEO is.
It's search engine optimization. So it's a process of being found within the search engines, Google and Bing. And normally when we talk about this, we talk about Google because that's where, up until recently, and we'll talk about a bit about that, I think it's important too, that Google was a main search, is where everyone went to. And that's starting to change, but it is still the biggest search engine is where people go to find information, to find new products, and to make choices about what they buy. So that's why it's important that you rank for the products that you want to sell, the keywords, not just your website, but the keywords for your site. So if you sell wooden clogs, you want to be able to rank for wooden clogs. That's what you do. If you've got a site, Clogs Are Us or whatever. So that's the ability to be able to rank for your keywords, as we call them.
I wonder how many people are searching for wooden clogs right now. That's quite interesting, Jason. But I guess the higher up you are in Google, the more sales you're going to make. It's really as simple as that, isn't it? And the SEO is about getting you up there, right?
Yeah, you need to be on page 1 and within the top 5 really to see the benefit. You get traffic on page 1, but really within the top 5, top 3 specifically is where you really see the magic.
And does that rank after the paid for sites that you see at the top? Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yes. Google gives its love to who's paying it money, and that is the case. Yeah. Although we are seeing AI overviews, which is a whole different area, and AI overviews is where Google is in what they're doing is they're taking your free content that you put together and they're using that to give you AI overviews. So in essence, they're cannibalizing it, which is just the way that they're going at the moment. It's just a way of things. But that doesn't mean that search isn't still extremely important. It's massively important for many businesses because it's a long-term play. It can take months and months to build, or it can happen really quickly, depending on your budget. But it's a one thing that you can pay for ads and you can get traffic. But this is where you do it, and then once it pays off, the traffic's free, and everyone wants visitors for free.
Of course they do.
That's the importance of it.
So the business is building these backlinks, which helps bump you up the search on Google, right?
That's what we do. And we work with a lot of other agencies. So when SEO agencies come to us because we are, as a business, we're very systemized. We have really good systems in place. We spent years developing these so that we can handle volume. So we've hit peaks and then we've had to take a step back and relook at things so that we can put systems in place for the next growth. So that we're doing probably over 1,000 a month, links a month across multiple agencies and direct clients as well that we work with. But agencies hate doing it and they're not geared towards it. They deal with the clients. They can do technical on site. They can provide the content, But links is a whole different ballgame, because you're reaching out to websites and you're trying to get a link on that site. You're offering guest posts. You're pitching that you've got great content and your site deserves to be on their website. So it's a highly focused, and it's a very specific way of working that people find difficult to scale. But we've managed to do that. So yeah, that makes it a good business. And we are moving more into mainstream SEO. We're looking to work in mainstream SEO, and then we have a new product that we're launching very, very soon.
Interesting, really interesting. How long has the business been running?
8 years.
8 years. Wow, congratulations. That's pretty cool for a tech business to be operating that long.
Yeah.
Real testament. Obviously, you're doing something that the market requires and needs, and I think there's so many businesses that don't survive 2 or 3 years, but seeing a business at 8 years is extraordinary. To be
I didn't think I would. I'll be honest with you. When we started, Alan, it was a means to an end, and then I suddenly looked up, and there was a business. We had a team out in the Philippines. We've got some great people that work with us for 6-7 years. And we've grown a business. And I didn't think we were going to get through the first couple of years, because it was literally hand to mouth. But I knew we had a good service, and I knew we looked after our clients well, because my background was being in sales and marketing consultancy. And I know the value of having good customer service, because it's so hard to find new clients, but it's easy to keep hold of them. So we've had clients who have had with us for years. And that's I think one of the things I'm more proud about than anything, that people stay with us and they work with us a little bit longer term. And then I realized that people just want someone they can trust, that will do to the level they want. And if you can do that for business, they'll come back, they'll work with you. Yeah. And that is a huge thing. People get sloppy, and then they lose clients, and then they're back to looking for new clients all the time. So for the first 3 years, we operated purely on referrals. And we could have grown faster than we did, but it was really about me and me just being burnt before, and not wanting to make mistakes, or wanting to build a foundation. And that's what we did. When it allowed us then to take a step back, because we had the funds to say, right, let's look at the next growth bit. And we are currently now in that process of, okay, there's a new paradigm shift, and we want to take advantage of that as a business. And I think a lot of businesses now, and that's obviously around AI.
Yeah. I think we'll probably come on to that a little bit later. I think. But if we go back 8 years, what motivated you to start your own business? What was your journey, and what was the driving force behind your decision to take on this entrepreneurial role?
It was necessity for me. I'd done some consultancy work for a business that was doing employment law. They had employment law consultants. I was helping them set up a sales operation as well. And within a month, they said, come on board. So I came on board with them. It's expensive to keep paying a consultant. So it was like, right, we'll take you on board. And then I was there for about 9-10 months. And I've been doing consultancy work for a while, but I thought, I'm going to be here for a while. Mm-hmm. How old was I? 48 nearly. Mm-hmm. So I thought, this is a good place to be with this level of management level, running a business unit, full P&L. I thought, this is great. But little did I know that they call every so often this business, that they were renowned for it. And I was called out of the business. And at the same time, I had some really bad news that my mum had got cancer, and it was quite aggressive. So I sort of had this epiphany: what am I going to do? And I just thought, I'm going to spend time with my mum. So that's what I did. Spent time with mum. And after mum passed, it was like I didn't have a great time for a while. I'll be honest. It took me a while to get I had no motivation or anything. Then I started really small things, like, because I wasn't getting out of bed even. And if anyone's been through this, and grief and loss is a tough thing, and not working. So I think it was quite a critical time looking back. So small things, and I always tell people this, I needed small things. So the first thing, what got me back moving, was having a cold shower first thing every day. And I know it sounds weird, but I needed something to kickstart me to say, right, that's tough. I've done that. And we think of Eat the Frog, the book, and people talk about do the most horrible thing first, and that was it. So little steps got me back, and then I started looking around for what could I do. I could see the SEO was growing. I thought this is really good, but I'm good with people, and the SEO people I've met and what I looked, it was all online. So when I looked at link building, it was about outreach, it was about messaging, it was about numbers, it was a numbers game. And I thought, yeah, okay, I can do this. Mm-hmm. So I started on a site called Upwork, picked up some work from agencies, and because I can sell, I did that. And then I obviously sold and then started picking things up. And I did what a lot of people do in business when you start. You're like the swan. You're graceful on the top and your legs are going. And yeah, we can handle that. Yeah, and you put a projection that you're bigger than you are. And I think the benefit I had, I could sell. I was good with account management. I'd run partnership in Europe for companies before. So I had that under my belt, and it gave me the confidence to go out. But I was doing the work myself. Mm-hmm. And then I took on a VA, and it grew. Went through COVID, and then we grew after COVID because people were online, and people that was where it was. So we grew, and it was tough for a while. I remember just taking little bits out to pay for the shopping and just to get by as a business. And then my son started to work with me. He came out of college, was not going to go to uni, super bright, but just wasn't motivated. So he started from the bottom and now runs operations. But that was a first point where we started to think, okay, we need to keep going. Mm-hmm. And then I looked up, and suddenly we've got 15 in the Philippines. We're doing numbers that I don't have to worry every month. Mm-hmm. We've built a business, and because I hadn't been silly, because we hadn't got shiny object syndrome, which a lot in my industry, it's the chasing. Oh, that looks good. Let's go and do that. No, we were relentless in perfecting one thing because there was no way I was going to get caught again. Just get good at something. I'm really good at it, and then focus on it and perfect it. And then I found that for us was the best way forward. Fast forward, and then with my son, Jasper, who was working for another link building agency. He worked for me for a bit, couldn't work with Dad, went off. They sold the business for a few million, and he came back. And what he learned, he helped us then to strip back again and rebuild systems so that we could really grow. Yeah. And that was a big turning point. And then the two boys together now, operations and marketing with me as a voice of reason more. The boys are running more and more of the day-to-day business. But we're at a point where it's really exciting, and we think we're going to grow again after a period of just getting things right for a few months, about the last 6 months, and consolidating.
There's a couple of things I'd like to maybe dig around there a bit, Jason. The first one is shiny object syndrome. So what you're talking about there, you've niched into a particular service, a particular solution, and you haven't moved for that. You've been really belligerent, and you've stuck to that channel.
Yeah.
Explain why that's so important.
I think it's dilution. Everything for me is about dilution of your mind and of your energies and of the company focus. If you start to look at other things, and I could be guilty of it, and I knew it was in my nature to look, oh, that looks really cool. I like that. Or let's go and let's try and sell that. People want that. Let's do that. But I knew if we did that, you spend months trying to build something that you don't know if people want because it's just cool at the moment. And you then lose energy from the main focus of your business. So the one thing I've learned in my years, especially of working in tech, working in sales, is just have the blinkers on like a horse. You're in a race, you need the blinkers on, and you need to just keep moving forward, get really, really good at what you do, and there'll be a market for it. And that's what we did. We didn't want to get caught up with the latest things. Then you get paradigm shifts like we're seeing at the moment, and that's a different matter. That isn't about a shiny object. That is about a fundamental change in the way things work. And I still think that people are really not understanding the effect that AI is going to have over the next few years. It's phenomenal.
I realise where you're going with that, and I'm looking forward to asking you a question about that in a second, without a doubt, because we'll talk about that in a second. The other thing that I wanted to dig around was this is a generational family business. What kind of advantages and what kind of disadvantages come with that?
That's a really good question.
Maybe we need another hour, so let's take another hour on this.
Well, just in essence, the benefits is trust. You've got people that you can trust, that you know have got the same interest in you. You're growing something together. And it wasn't like that. And we're at the stage now when I'm starting to feel like this is a business for the boys. This is going to be left for them. And that never even, because it was just about survival. Now my head shifts a bit. That's great. But also the fact that it can bleed into everything else because you're a family. That is the biggest issue. And we've talked about that, and we're trying to limit that now, that we don't have those conversations. And that is an issue for all of us because we all care about what we do in our various bits of the business. So we're trying to get better at that. But that is one of the issues, I think, as a family business. It can bleed into other things. And it can also make you sometimes, you give each other a pass when sometimes, if you was an employee, you wouldn't. And you need to be a bit harder sometimes, I think, with the way that you do things.
What you've done is you've been really specific about the roles that they're playing in the business, and I'm sure the job descriptions are quite well defined as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So important. If you're working with your friends, a lot of new businesses are two friends that get together, or if you're working with family, you have to be crystal clear on the job roles and the expectations from that job role, and hold each other accountable. It's a lot of the stuff that if you've read any Patrick Lencioni, a lot of the stuff that he talks about, so important with family and friends working together. So important.
Yeah.
Sounds like you've got it right, Jason. And
we hope so. We're still working at it.
It's pretty cool. So what are the common misconceptions about running a business? How do you go about addressing them?
I think one of the ones that I've thought about this, and I think one of the things is about age and about starting a business in a fast moving environment. You can do it. You can do it. If you've got a curiosity, if you're interested in things, and you've got that entrepreneurial mindset, it doesn't matter how old you are. I was 48, and I worked for myself in consultancy, but building a business is different. This is not just you. This is about, as a book, The E-Myth, and I'd read that a number of times, and it was about how do I sit on a beach and still earn money, and it is about that, how you take yourself out, because businesses can't grow if it's you're in it all the time, and you're the point of conversations, of decisions all the time. So that was a big thing. So that's a misconception, I think, is that you have to be also in the middle of everything. You don't. And the best businesses, I think, are the ones that systemize everything so that there is no bottlenecks, so that there is no, if he gets run over, what the heck do we do? Because we have SOPs for every bit of the business, because it's quite a complex thing, but we broke everything down, and we call it like the sausage machine. It's like making sausages. You have to have it all the way along. And what we realized is, this applies to most businesses. You can take hugely complex businesses, and that all of the parts of it can be broken down. They can be given an SOP as to how to work. And with the tools that we have now, anyone can do that. So the misconceptions, I think, are that you're too old, it all relies on you. All of that can be done away with if you have the right mindset. That for me is a big thing.
Beautiful. What an answer. I love that. And you've kind of already answered the next question, a little bit of it anyway. And we're going to talk about maintaining a work-life balance as a business owner. And you've said that it's really important. You're working hard on stopping the bleed, stopping the boundary, setting up the boundaries, being belligerent about them. But what other personal rituals or habits keep you motivated and focused?
For a while, there wasn't a lot. It was a business and everything. And then as I could lift my head up a bit more, I started getting really into fitness again, and I found going to the gym, training to be what a stress reliever. For me, it's just really relieved me. But I have certain things. So in the morning, especially in the summer, I'm out in the garden, get some sunlight in my eyes first thing, some breath work, not to the Wim Hof method, but just to get myself focused. And then I will 3 to 4 times a week. I'm in the gym, and I'll go in the morning because I find that works for me. And then I'm back because we tend to, I like to work a bit late. I'd rather afternoon, early evening for me. And that is a big thing for me. And then the other thing is just my wife and myself will have dinner, and then we'll go for a walk, and we'll talk about the day. And we'll decompress a bit, we'll have a chat. And that's become a really good thing. I've really enjoyed that. Because my wife's got to live with us, and her work is around, she's a sign language interpreter. So it's a completely different world. Yeah. So we both have different things, so we can talk about that. So I found that has been important. So putting in place regular exercise, I find it better for me because it's quite intensive. I love that. And then after that's done, then I can get on with things. But that's been a big help for me, I would say. You need that, and you need them to switch off. That's not always easy. You can't always, but you try to do the best you possibly can.
I think it's important, isn't it? And it's great that you're working hard on that. And the 7th habit of highly effective people is recharge and sharpen the saw. So, giving yourself that decompression, so important. So important.
Absolutely.
I almost feel like combining the next 2 questions, which is, the business landscape is moving really, really fast right now, faster than we have ever seen it move. And we're going to talk about strategies to remain innovative, but also, talk about where you're going next with the business. And I think they probably fit together. I'm half guessing here where you're going with this, but give me your answer to that then. How do you handle innovation? Where's the business going next?
Yeah. For innovation, I'm always looking for new things and looking for where it's going. It doesn't mean it's about filtering information out and then applying it. Where does it affect my business?
Yeah.
So for me, X or Twitter is a phenomenal place to follow people that are starting bootstrapping businesses, people that are working in AI and bootstrapping new products. It's a phenomenally good place for that. If you cut out all the politics, all the other stuff, you can mute all that. But then you can get a really good timeline of people that are building businesses. There's a guy I follow that's building a cleaning business, but he's automating and he's systemized it. I love that because it's a role that will become extremely important as time goes on. And it's just a way of it. And for me, the other area is looking at Reddit. Reddit is phenomenal. So if I was starting a business now, I'd be looking at what are people complaining about on Reddit? What do they hate about certain things in a niche? Then you're looking to solve pain points. So that it's things like that for me that are important. So what we've looked at over the last, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 months is we're putting an AI into the business. So AI is actively helping us. So we're negotiating, talking to websites using AI, and it's helping our staff to locate and find sites that fit in for our clients, because that's not easy to do. But AI will scrape, find all that, and do all that. So it's making our staff, where we were 6 months ago, they can do another quarter again, but over another year, they'll be able to handle a lot more work. And I think that is a way that a lot is going to go. You're going to see staff managing AI agents, so their workload will go up. And I always give the analogy of the company. For years, companies had a bookkeeper, and that bookkeeper just looked after your company, and that was it. But with the advent of Sage, Xero, all these software, bookkeepers or accountants are looking after multiple businesses now. It's just allowed them to do more. AI is going to do the same. For the time being, eventually, I think we'll all be not working. I think that it will come to that. But at the moment, we're in a bit of a golden age, and as a number of thought leaders have said, this is a time when it's like the internet starting again. It is very much like that. And we've looked at for us now, we've taken a step back and think, well, what data are we seeing? So the interesting thing is, the younger generations, Gen Z, you look at where they go for information, TikTok, YouTube, but where quality leads now are within the LLMs. So ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity. People will use those as a way to search, and Google will probably drop off a bit. So what we're seeing clients asking for, well, what we're talking about now is how do I get found within? So if I want to put in who's the best, if I want an action coach, who do I find?
Yeah.
And that search is not like Google. So it's not about keywords, but it is about links, and it's about branding. So it is about how many times you're mentioned, where you're mentioned. So a brand building for businesses is going to be one of the most important things over the next few years. You need to build a brand. You need to have something around it, a message, the way that you present yourself, the way that you present yourself online. You need to be online, you need to be an online presence. That is a way it's going to go. So we're developing solutions to help businesses get found within the LLMs. And there's ways to do that are quite technical, but it's a way that the LLMs or large language models scrape data, and they're looking for brands, they're looking for mentions. And what we do, funny enough, links really helps with that. So that's a big area. Digital PR, getting posted on the Sun, the Mirror, as part of it. You could do a data survey. You see it all the time. If you look at the Sun, the Mirror, the Mail, you see digital PR campaigns where someone's done a campaign. It could be like a roofing company looked up and found this information, and then what they do is they take that and run a story, because journalists are under massive pressure. They've got to produce so many stories a day. So if you can give them that, you get your brand mentioned on one of the major publications, that will help your brand and get found within search. So that is where we see a big growth. Using it within the business, but also helping clients get found by those, what we will class as a new search engines, because you want to be in there, you want your brand in there. And that's going to be a key thing going forward. Definitely.
Absolutely fascinating. And when you say LLMs, large language models, we're talking about GPT, we're talking about, these AI engines that are being used.
Yeah, Perplexity, Gemini, DeepSeek. Yeah. Gemini's a bit different because it's pulling Google data, but the others are scraping at the moment, which is causing issues within. There's so many scraping. So, they're building massive data farms and even their own power stations to do this.
Gosh.
It's a phenomenal industry, and you can see some of the issues it's causing, but this is the way it's going. And there's a company called N8N that produces software that you can build your own agents, and you can have agents controlling other agents. So you can have, if you want to post social media, come up with content, really, you don't need staff to do that anymore. You can build agents to do that. But you have to be inquisitive and want to understand it. And if that's what I would do if I was starting again, that's a business I'd be building. Really
interesting. Really, really fascinating. I mean, if I say the name of the person that triggers the search on this phone, I'm not going to say it because every single device in the house will go off. But please don't say it, but you know the one I mean. If I asked, where am I going to find a bunch of flowers for to send to my mum, it's now asking me, do you want me to use Google for that, or would you like me? Or I think it says, would you like me to use the internet, or would you like me to use ChatGPT? So it's asking that. And
we spoke to a client, Alan, this weekend. I've been at a mastermind event, and it was a company we know very well, and they were looking at all the leads that were coming into the business, and they were getting a small percentage, but it's growing from ChatGPT. But that closed, and they converted way better. Really? So that's telling us that the trust factor from featuring in LLMs is vitally important. Vitally important.
I mean, I was privileged enough to see Gary Vaynerchuk recently, a couple of months ago, And he's echoing exactly what you're saying, Jason, that Google is on a little bit of a decline, and the AI engines are starting to be in the ascendance, and they are being used for searches. So we've got to think about SEO, and I don't know whether you would call it SEO, but being visible.
It's called GEO at the moment, but I don't think that's sticking. I don't know at the moment.
Okay,
but I think it's more holistic. And SEOs have got to change. We've got to adapt. And that's another thing with business. Sometimes you have to. Change is painful, but as long as you're doing what we do core, that's not changing. But we are making adjustments, and that is something that we need to do. Otherwise, we get left behind. And I still don't know how long we've got. We may, as a business, we may only have 4 or 5 years. We don't know, but we'll try and adapt, because companies always want leads, and people always want to be found. So there'll be some area of marketing that we'll look to focus on. We're producing more content for our Instagram is where we're at the moment, and TikTok. But we are starting to do skits, and it's picking up clients quite interestingly, because people get to see us having a laugh and a joke. And the adage that people buy people is, for us, is massively important. We really see that.
It's called social media for a reason, right?
Yeah.
We've got to be social on it. I mean, I posted a video recently. I was lying on the floor here behind me with the dog, and it was an interesting business message, but he was just following this treat around like this. And that one's going to get more views than any of the boring business ones I do.
Do you know, I look at my data from LinkedIn, and I look at, I posted something about the family and about the business and where we were and how we'd started. That was the highest the traffic I got for any post I put on. And it taught me something, that the emotional thing, we think LinkedIn's about business. It's not anymore. I think everything's blurred. There is no one way or another. But emotional stories that resonate are really important, massively important. And you've got to just be out there, and you've got to be putting yourself out there. And I think sometimes as UK businesses, we're not good at that. We don't like to do that. We don't like to sell ourselves. We're seen as very American. It's not what we do. But we have to change. We have to do it. And if you're an older generation, we use Jasper a lot as a face of the business, because I feel I'm a bit older. But I play my own part, and you have to sort of embrace your age and think, you know what, just get on with it. Just put yourself out there. You have to.
Wow. Well, there's some massive takeaways for me there. I mean, I coach that there's one word that's the biggest risk to any business in the world, no matter what the business does, and that word is obscurity.
Yeah,
and that's absolutely that is the biggest risk to any business, obscurity. It feels like we all need a profit engine in our life, right? It feels. I'm really.
I love talking about it, Alan, because it's been a journey for us. Yeah, it's been a journey for us, and I'm still excited about things. And I've got re-energized, I'd say, over the last few months, because I'm thinking there's another huge opportunity, but not just for us, for any business, anyone.
Correct. Yes.
If you can find a pain point and you can look at ways to automate that, it's so easy to design the software now. I mean, even, my goodness, there's whole courses on YouTube where you can do and it's called vibe coding. So using Cursor to write the code for you. People are doing this, and they're building what they call wrappers around ChatGPT, and they're building products, and they're generating, and they're getting them sold. It's phenomenal at the moment. Yeah.
What a time to be alive. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It is.
One big question for you now, Jason. You know it's coming, but what are the top 3 pieces of advice that you would offer somebody starting their own business, or maybe facing challenges in the early years of business? What are your top 3?
Well, look at these. Because they are 2 different questions in a way. And for me, if I was starting a business now, you want to find pain, and then how you can solve it. That is a big thing. People will say, do something you love, but I think that's a load of rubbish. I think you really need to find a pain point that you might hear people complaining about within a business. Use that pain point, and then research if there's a product around that. Can you solve it? And with AI, you can solve so many things now. It could be within a business, this bottlenecks or things that you come up with a way to automate or do something. I know friends of mine that are developing systems for answering the phone, but they're targeting just dental practices.
Mm-hmm.
So that they can, because some of the AI voice services now, phenomenal, but
Mm-hmm.
they're looking at a solution and they're picking one market. And that's the other thing. Pick one market, one pain point, and find that pain, find that market, and just double down on it. It's the way I spoke with a business this weekend. They do SEO, but only for lawyers in the US. The owner just sold for $40 million.
Wow.
And it's not taken on everyone. He's gone, oh no, I'm not going to take on everyone. Lawyers. We get good at servicing lawyers. For us, it was, we're good at links. That's what we do. And it's the same principle. It's either a product or a niche. Get good at something and deliver. So for me, if you're starting out, find a pain point, find a niche. I would research Twitter, Reddit. Reddit's awesome. Even Facebook. What are people complaining about? They wish things were better. There's lots of ways to look at it. And when you talk about, I don't know, issues, I've been obviously through running a business and going through dark times. And I think I developed a mentality of 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot in front of the other. If you can keep bringing revenue in, you've got to be a salesperson, but you have to just keep, when it feels really, really bad. You just have to keep. It's a case of keeping going. And those first 2 years are the toughest, as you say, because a lot of businesses do end. But in our business, what we found was a lot of people were not good at selling.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to sell.
No,
so
right.
if you can sell products, if you can get on with people, then you've got a better chance. So when it's tough, you can sell yourself. And that's what I did. We sold ourselves out of issues because revenue and profit, you get money in the business, you go through it. That's one set of problems is revenue. But then the other set of problems could be staff, or there's lots of other issues. When I did that, having a mentor, having someone to talk to that is not in your business, but maybe understands it a bit and maybe got a bit more experience, was a big help for me. Having someone that I could talk to and just bounce ideas off, because sometimes you feel you're on your own. But if you can find a mentor, and it could be doing something like Action Coach, you're having a system, but there's other businesses there and there's someone to go and talk to. But it's vital, I think, when you're really going through it, that you can soundboard off others, because sometimes problems that you think are bad are not as bad as you think, and they're solvable.
I love that. You're obviously, let me just read back through that. So I really like this. Find pain, and how do you solve it? One market, one pain point.
Yeah.
Get good at something and deliver. I think there's some real gold in there, for discovering something that you're fairly knowledgeable about, but more importantly, something that the market needs and something that they're gonna swarm to, right?
Yeah.
And do your due diligence around that as well. Go and study that market. Use Reddit. Use all the other tools available to find those points.
But you know what you can do as well, Alan? You can easily get up a one-page website with the messaging on and start to promote it. Do you get any takers? If you get a few takers, you're onto something.
Yeah, true. So
and then you can go with it. Yeah. Spend a bit of money. If you've got a bit of funds, you could go Facebook funnel or drive some Google ads to it around the pain, keywords around that pain. Lots of different ways you can do it.
Very good. One foot in front of the other. Keep going, keep selling. And I think that's a really important part of this, is because a lot of the companies, you've read the E-Myth, so you know what an engineer business is.
Yeah.
A technician-led business, sorry. Is someone who's a really good engineer, a really good joiner, a really good hairdresser, and they start a business as a hairdresser. But what you've got to remember is, when you become a business owner, you've got to be a salesperson, you've got to be a marketing expert, you've got to be HR, you've got to be finance and admin, and you've got to be the operations manager as well. And, that's discussed. And if you haven't read the E-Myth, I think it's clever, isn't it?
It's one book I would recommend everyone do.
100%.
And I think tied in with that, one other thing I would say is, as your business start to grow, and you start to produce revenue, if you're doing things that you hate doing and don't bring value, you get someone to
Right.
do it. I do not touch any of the finances. I have a really good accountant.
Yeah.
We have someone to handle the wage, all of that. I just hand it over because, and also a lot of things when you start to write them down, you're as an owner of a business are doing things that are, £15 an hour tasks. Why are you doing things like this?
Yeah.
And that takes time to sit down, write all those tasks out that are just that you're doing. And sometimes we do them because they're nice little dopamine hits.
Yeah.
We don't mind doing them because, well, we could do that. I feel great. I'm guilty of that as everyone. But what I've tried to do is work on bigger things that bring in bigger results rather than focus on little things that give me a nice little dopamine hit.
Love it. And then finally, have a mentor. Don't feel like you're on your own. And you're absolutely right. Business is a very, very lonely place. Very lonely place.
Yeah.
So I think having the right people around you to support you is so important as well. That could be a family member. It could be someone in your community that's running a similar business. People love helping. People love talking about
They do.
Well, so
they do. Yeah.
Just ask. I think that's some really good points. One very final question. I'm going to spring this one on you a little bit. You're obviously very well read. So you've mentioned the E-Myth. I think you mentioned Eat That Frog as well. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Eat That Frog. Even things like the 1 Minute Manager books were great for me when I was learning.
Incredible.
And they're useful now in the business. I've recommended them to Hugo, and we talk about them because, Monkey on My Back. I love that one because so many times people, and we've had it with staff, give you a problem because they want to take it off them.
Yeah.
They are, they're phenomenal. So are you going to ask me about?
I was going to ask you for your top recommended book, apart from the three you've just mentioned, but just a quick funny story about the 1 Minute Manager meets the monkey. I gifted that to a business owner in the Midlands, and his team came to me the following week and says, "Why the hell is he going on about monkeys all day? Why is he going on about get that monkey off my back?" If you read these books, make sure you explain them to your team before you start using the principles in them as well. So I did have a laugh about that, but apart from the three you've mentioned, what would be another book that you would recommend?
I'm trying to think what I've got. I mean, one thing I would say is there's so many I love. I mean, spin selling was a really important one for me. I really love that. But then there's a guy called Richard Koch who talks about Pareto's law, the 80-20 principle.
All right,
and in marketing. And we've seen that in the business. 80-20, is the way. Yeah. There is one other book that I think is awesome. It's called Profit First, and I can't remember the guy that wrote it. If you know that one, it's
Dan.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, great book.
That was another one that makes you think, because it's important. You need to look at the business that's profitable. Revenues, it's vanity. You really need to just make some profit.
100%. I mean, I use the profit first principles in my business, and I think he describes it as a tube of toothpaste or something like that, isn't it, in the book?
Yeah.
And so it's a great book, well worth a read.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. So much gold in there, Jason. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I love it. It's nice to talk. I'm enthusiastic. I'll talk all day. But it's been lovely, Alan. I've enjoyed it.
Great pleasure. Thank you, Jason. Let's catch up soon.
Let's do that. Take care.
Bye.